curious about. So you said cohort, right? So building a cohort. So that's a fascinating idea. So if I'm a woman leader and I'm watching this thing, so are you talking about that I should be building my own personalized cohort, or are you talking about that as an organization should build a cohort that we should all be part of? Or, like I'm curious, what do you expect from this cohort?
Well, since I've had the experience of being the CEO of organizations where we were the only one in town, or in the state sometimes, I know that it's lonely at the top. It can be very lonely at the top. And so sometimes you have to build your own cohort. You have to build your own cohort with peers that you feel comfortable with. So I would say there's that way of building a cohort. At Take the Lead, what we do is we build the cohort within the company. And or when we do these programs for the public, they are by application. And so that we try to make sure that we have people who really are the right level and ready to take this learning program. And then we proactively teach them about why they should understand they are part of a cohort and that part of their job is to support each other. And then we actually, with our biggest, most immersive programs, we actually have them do their own cohort plan. As they do an individual plan, but they also do a plan for the cohort where they work together to figure out a program that they would like to do that will advance all the women in their industry or their sector.
That's a great idea. I think that's
yeah.
It's pretty. And thank you for suggesting that. So now let's spend a few minutes on your book. So intention.
Okay.
Why write this book?
Well, as I mentioned, after I spent all these years talking to women about how powerful they actually are and helping them understand they have this power, and I realized the question they have to ask then is the power to what? What do I want to do with that power? And I made up the word intentioning. I couldn't find exactly the right word in the dictionary or the thesaurus, so I made it up. And the reason I made it up is that I wanted to have an active verb. I wanted the concept to be an active verb as opposed to a noun that sits there. And, it's a good word. Intention is a great word, but I want people to be doing something with it, not merely talking about it. So I made up the word intentioning for that purpose. And I wrote the book to help women answer that question for themselves. And that is, that question of what is the power to, how do I want to use this power to that I have? And I wanted to do it in a way that would give women those leadership intentioning tools, so that there are some very specific actionable skills, tools, tips, and thought processes that they can use. And actually, I also created a workbook to go with intentioning, and it's on my website, gloriafeldt.com/intentioning. People can download this free workbook that goes with the book, so that there are exercises then that they can do to help them really internalize what they're reading. And I still am a teacher. I thought I was, remember I got deterred from being a teacher, but I think I'm still a teacher. So I wrote intentioning for that purpose. Now, I started writing it before the pandemic. And at first, it was going to be exactly what I just described to you. I was going to tell women's stories and how they had used these tools to advance in their careers. When the pandemic came around, I realized that I had to do a different kind of a book. I had to enlarge it. It's not different. It's just bigger and richer. I think it's richer. And then I needed to set a social context around intentioning that took into account the fact that we are in a period of disruption. And we're in a period of rebirth. And the two are very much related. They have a lot in common, disruption and rebirth. And if we take this moment, if we really see it as that opportunity to rethink ourselves, rethink our companies, rethink the structures in which we work, we can change some big systems that have been very unwilling to make change. We all know now that everyone could have flexible hours and work from home, if at least part of the time, and still be very productive, and so they can take care of their families and they can do their work. And people have had to deal with that. Companies have had to deal with that. A lot of people don't want to go back into the office now. And so every company's having to deal with, okay, are we going to have everybody come in full time? Are we going to do 2 days a week? What are we going to do? But the idea is there now. Moments of disruption force individuals and force organizations to innovate and to think new thoughts, ideas that they wouldn't have even considered in the past. They realize, I have to think about that now. I may have to change. And matter of fact, this change might be a good change. And Zoom was a small company before the pandemic, right? Zoom, all of a sudden, who's not Zooming? Everybody's Zooming. It's everywhere. So there's that. Innovation is just rampant during a disruption, and so many new things happen. And then there was, of course, not just the coronavirus pandemic, but there was the racial injustice that has been in our culture forever. But with the murder of George Floyd, suddenly many more people could see, many more people understood the depth of the racial injustice that has been in our society. And so I wanted this book to also take that into account, because I mentioned to you that I had gotten my start in the civil rights movement, and I have always believed that racism, sexism, homophobia, you name it, all of these things are really joined at the head. They're all a way of thinking that makes some people it others people. And so we need to change all of that. We are going to change all of it for everybody, or else nobody's going to be safe. As long as somebody is considered the other or the outsider nobody's going to be safe, because tomorrow it could be you.
Right.
And so, so I just felt morally compelled to put that into the book.